Can you guys see my face here? It's kind of dark.
There we go.
Kind of cloudy. Hey, there he is.
How you doing, Kim?
Good, good, good. Everybody, this is Coach Tim Whitehead, men's basketball, joining us tonight. Geez, I wish I had better lighting here. Let me just flip this around here. A little better. There we go. How are you, Tim?
I'm good. I'm good, Kim. How are you?
How is the real estate industry these days? For those that aren't aware, that is what you do. You're, are you with the Atkinson team? Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So we have a team in Medhat, and then we have a team in Lethbridge, and I'm based out of Lethbridge. So, but yeah, real estate is what I do now. It's bumping. It's busy. It keeps me on my toes. So, having a lot of success with it. So, yeah.
Good, good, good. Tell me about the real estate market these days. I mean, some might say, it's coming into recession, and there's uncertainty in the market. But from somebody in the industry, what is happening these days, and is it actually a great time to either buy or sell a house?
I mean, of course, my true answer is always going to be it's a great time to buy. It's a great time to sell. I mean, that's how I make my living. So. My answer is always that, but if you look at the industry overall, it's been really strong as of late. Obviously, with the CMHC rules and a couple of regulations kind of changing, there's been a lot of people on the market, a lot of interest. The short-term game has been very good. We've seen interest rates drop. Long-term, as you've probably read in the news, the forecast is a number of declines. And so, yeah, I mean, it's sorry, my cat's just going to try and get on the video too, but
don't worry about it. It's all good.
In the big picture, yeah, I think we're in for a little bit of we're going to see how the economy recovers.
Right.
If the economy recovers well, yeah, I think there will be a little dip. But yeah, it's we're like you. Every day is a new adventure. We saw at the beginning of COVID a lot of uncertainty, and then all of a sudden, boom, May, June hit, and we had some of our biggest months. And to the point where we just can't keep enough on the market to actually keep buyers interested. And so, yeah, we take it day by day too.
So I see a lot of for sale signs everywhere around town. Is that to the advantage of the buyer or the seller? I would imagine for the buyer, it would be most advantageous, right?
Yeah, for sure. The more that are on the market, the more it's a buyer's market. Lethbridge and Medicine Hat are a little bit different. Lethbridge is a more, because we're not so natural gas or oil based, we're very diverse in our economy. Medicine Hat is a little bit different, and I can't truly speak for the market out there. Even though it's an hour and a half down the road, it is a different market compared to what Lethbridge is. So, yeah, I mean, if you like Justin Topper, who's one of our agents out there, he'd be the guy to talk to about the market in Medicine Hat specifically. So,
good. Tim, you're from an era of Rattlers basketball that saw some really familiar names, guys like Rich Humphrey, Chad Watson, Darcy Daychief, head coach Mike Connolly. Talk a little bit about that era of Rattlers basketball and just how exciting it was in that time. I mean, I admit it was before I was here, so I never had a chance to see you play, but describe what it was like being a Rattler at that time.
Sure. I can tell you that I wasn't going to be a Rattler. And then Rich Humphrey, who's Rich and Mike, very good friends of mine, they said, Tim, come on out, come watch a game. You'll fall in love with it. And I was like, I don't know. Because I was born in Fort Macleod and near and dear to Lethbridge, so obviously the college, university, and so I was like, I don't know, Medicine Hat. And so Mark French, who helps out with the team as well, said, come on, Timmy, I'm going out, jump in the car, let's go. And so I got to Medicine Hat, we watched warm-ups, and there was some high flyers, and the crowd was good. And then as the game kept going on, I just saw how supportive the crowd was and how rowdy it got. And I just started to fall in love with it. And then there was one specific play that sold me on coming to Medicine Hat. And there was, I can't remember specifically what the play was, but someone missed the layup, and Rich went up and grabbed the ball in the air, and then another teammate came and grabbed it from Rich's hands and pulled it back and dunked it over top of Rich and this whole other bunch of people. And I was so taken by that I ran onto, as a fan, I ran onto the crowd because I knew how big that was. And it was just like, yep, this is where I want to be.
Wow. And so how does the talent level compare these days to your era then of the ACAC? I mean, in many ways, it's, the style of player is different. The recruiting is different. There's a lot of things that are different. But how would you describe the difference now between your playing days?
That's a good question. Because it was just so different. We were so position orientated back in our time. Nowadays, it's very fluid. It's more of a player's game. You've got more control because with FIBA rules, there's less timeouts, there's less stoppages, and so you've really got to entrust your players to be smart with the ball and creative and be able to be resourceful and also be flexible in knowing when to do certain things. And so you really got to trust your players these days. But that also comes down to the coaching of how you've got to develop everybody to do everything, it seems like. Again, back when we played, it was very positional, and certain players, it would be like, nah, you're a four-man, you're a five-man, and you don't step outside the post. And as you see in the NBA and college, now you've got 7-footers shooting three-pointers and dribbling up the ball. And so, yeah, it's definitely changed.
What do you enjoy? Do you enjoy the FIBA rules or the NCAA? I mean, they are considerably different, aren't they?
They are different. Because of my background, I would probably say I'd enjoy the FIBA rules. I never got to play in it. I'm a player that likes to go with the flow of the game. I don't like many stoppages and the physicality of it. It's just something that I like. So.
Yep. Who are the powerhouse teams in your era, and what made them just such formidable foes for the Rattlers?
SAIT always was. SAIT always was one of the top, but I'm trying to think. Lethbridge, there's always a rivalry with Lethbridge. When we played, Nate was good. Yeah, every year just seemed to be a little bit different, but we always in the South, you always have those rivalries. So, like Lethbridge, always. It doesn't matter if we were both the bottom teams. We're both coming out, we're fighting, and it's going to be a battle till the end. So, yeah. How do
you juggle the coaching and the real estate? Because, I mean, for any of the real estate agents I know, I mean, it is a 24/7 thing. I mean, you never have the luxury of just turning it off totally. How do you juggle it?
That's a good question. I'm still learning. That's the best answer to give you. I think you just got to really manage your time well. I haven't gotten back into coaching since I've got into real estate because I am learning. I'm trying to balance, and so it is for those who can control and learn to manage their clients, learn to manage their time. That's the key. Is you just have to say, you know what? At the end of the day, this is how I'm going to teach my clients to approach me when I'm available, and set time apart to say this is when I'm enjoying my time.
Good. What are you passionate about? What are some of the most important things to you that people might not be aware of?
That's it.
What's really important to you?
Most people know me to be this sporty guy, this really outgoing person. I'm kind of an introvert. And so I like to spend time with my friends and family. I like to spend time with my partner, Crystal, and just go out and golf and just have alone time. I love sports. And I like watching movies. I like my alone time and my quiet time where I can just be me.
All right. Top 3 movies. Top 3, if you could recommend any movie. Gosh. I mean, I'm on holidays this week. And so I'm finding that I am bored out of my mind. I've done so much yard work. I'm done it all. I got nothing to do for the next 4 days. So go ahead, give me your top 3.
Top 3 movies. Well, that's if I didn't say Hoosiers, then I wouldn't be a true basketball fan. So
okay.
Hoosiers would be one. I can tell you that we watched that on every basketball road trip in high school. It was always Hoosiers is on the movie, like it's going. So, gosh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look around and see. I have to say Lion King. I'm a Disney fan, so that would be
Wow.
one. And even the live version, the redone version, is very well.
Okay.
And you know, I'm trying to think of. There's so many. I
Okay,
would
so
say
you've got a sports movie. You've got a movie that is really
a little kids
deep.
movie. I'm a
Yeah, but
little kid at heart. Come on.
it's a kid's movie, but there are so many lessons to learn that adults can learn from it. So I would say that it's not even really a true kids movie when there's so much that all ages can soak in from that. So okay, so we've got
Absolutely.
two genres there. Uh, so you've got either action adventure or romantic comedy to fill out your final
Well,
spot.
well, I would say that not the new Star Wars series, but the original trilogy would be one of them.
Wow. There you go. That's awesome. All right. So I was reading an article today, and it's the article was four things you need to master by the time you're 30. Four things you need to master by the time you're 30. So I'm going to give these to you one by one, and you let me know if you have mastered them. Okay. Number one, by the time you're 30, cook a signature dish. What is your signature dish, Tim?
Oh, I can tell you, Rich will say this. Pancakes in the morning.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah. Every
Simple, but it's easy to screw up, right? I mean, you could make them
Oh,
terrible.
you can make them terrible if you don't make the batter right, or oh yeah, like trust me, like in college, it was game day. There's pancakes, and all the guys knew it. So
Okay. Four things you need to do by the time you're 30. Um, nail a job interview. Absolutely nail a job interview. When is the last job interview you had? And for anyone that might have a job interview scheduled or maybe upcoming, what advice might you have to nail a job interview?
uh, I, that's another good question. I do job interviews every day with real estate, so it's an everyday thing for me. I would say be confident. That's the number one thing. If you can walk in with confidence, and I'd say number two is do your research so you know what you're talking about to give you that confidence. Then yeah, those are the two
Mm-hmm.
top advices for nailing an interview.
Uh, changing a tire.
I've done many of those, yeah, for
You've
sure.
done many of those.
Oh
Good,
yeah,
good, good.
yeah, many
And
of
hopefully
those on
not
the
at the
highway or wherever. Yeah,
and hopefully not at the most inopportune time. I mean, nobody wants to have to change a tire, but it's good to know how to do it, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Four things you need to know: cook a signature dish, nail a job interview, um, make and stick to a budget. Would you agree with that? Are you between you and your partner? Are you the financial planner or are you the frivolous spender?
Uh, I think we're both very good planners.
Okay.
Um, in college, I can tell you I was not a budget planner. And then as you grow up in the real world, oh, you learn real quick how to budget. So I'd say I've got a good grasp of it. Not quite there yet.
What's your
So
strategy? What is your strategy for putting a little bit of money away for retirement? Is that something you do? Or, I mean, for a lot of people, it's, you know what, I'll start that in a few years. But right now, all my money, I want to buy that boat. I want to buy that RV or that camper or whatever, you know. What is your strategy for just kind of being prepared for all of a sudden when you wake up one day and you're 50?
I'll tell you, it's I've done a lot of research in this area too.
Hmm.
Um, I can tell you that the earlier you save, the less you have to save in the long term, and the more you're going to enjoy life in the long term. So, I would say if you can save 10% of your check every week, and the sooner you start, the better off you're going to be. It's pretty phenomenal when you start to research it and you learn about, I guess, stuff that you wouldn't really learn in school is compound interest and the markets and how they work. and there's a lot of fear around them. And now when I see the markets and the economy going crazy, I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity to jump in and invest and leave it and let it grow. It's proven time and time again, but the more you can save earlier, the long run, you're going to be way better off.
You never thought you'd be giving financial advice in this interview, did you?
Absolutely not, but that's okay. I mean, anything I can share to the world, it's okay by me.
All right. You and Crystal, are you parents?
Of two cats.
Parents of pets. Good.
Parents of cats, yep.
Tell me a little bit about them. What are their personalities like, and how are these two cats different?
Well, I've got one's name is Kitty. I found her on the side of a road about 9 years ago, and now she follows me around like a little dog. I can take her outside, and she'll follow me everywhere. She loves everybody. She runs to the door when someone comes to visit, and she'll cuddle up on anybody. She's just the most loving cat. And then I have Sully, and coincidentally, they're both named after Disney characters. He is the biggest scaredy cat you could ever meet. He runs away as soon as he hears a weird noise. I could leave the door open all day, and he would not even leave from the bed. He would just be like, "Nope, I'm good." So two different personalities.
Isn't it just amazing though? Just after a tough day at work where nothing went right, and you just get home and you see these four eyes staring up at you. They're happy you're home. They want to greet you and stuff. It just makes being a pet owner just so worth it, right? Just having them excited to see, whether it's a dog or a cat or whatever, right?
Oh yeah, pets make a huge difference. I mean, they just know you. They love you. They care for you, and they know when you're having a bad day, so they'll come cuddle you, and they get excited when you want to go play. Like it's phenomenal feeling. So
it's right. We've got Tim Whitehead joining us on the show here. Was it 2 seasons for the Rattlers? Is that right?
Actually, only 1 season, and then helped coach for 2.
Got you. Okay, and Pronghorns for a bit as well, if I'm not mistaken, right? With Coach Rich.
Yep. So, yeah, I went to play at the university after Medicine Hat, and then I kept telling Rich, because our coach Mike went to U of L as well, and I kept telling Rich, come, and it took him a little bit to come, but he finally came, and we graduated together there. So,
I did a Google search of your name. And one of the pictures that came up was a picture of you playing for the Pronghorns. I think you were going for a layup or whatever. And I noticed you were wearing number 53, a very unconventional number for basketball or for any sport. What is the story behind that number? Did you just get assigned it, or did you request it, or what happened there?
Well, I picked it. So back in that day, in the university rules, there's only certain numbers of jerseys you could use. And it was, I think it was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so any combination of only those numbers you could use. My favorite number was number 8, because it's the number of people in my family. And so 35 was Danny Balderson. Well, I mean, come on, who's going to be that number? So I said 53. No one, I can't remember who had it before me. And I mean, I still have a lot of love and respect for him, but I was like, you know what? This is a jersey that I can make my own. This is a number that I can make for me.
When it comes to hockey, or at least out west here, I mean, if you look at the Quebec League or the Ontario League, high numbers are pretty common. But in Western Canada, when it comes to hockey, it's kind of frowned upon, right? If you were a coach and a player said, "Coach, I want number 93," are you the kind of coach that would say, "No, you fit in with the team. That's just kind of the culture we have here"? Or would you say, "Look, whatever makes you comfortable, I'll make it happen"?
As long as it's within the rules, if it makes you play better, I'm all for it. If it helps you on your side of things, on the mental side, whatever, you do you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. All right. So what else is going on in your world these days? I mean, you're into the real estate market. Things going well there. Are you much of a traveler? I mean, these days, nobody's doing a whole lot of traveling, but typically, what else are you passionate about these days?
Well, I do like to travel. I like to follow sports teams. Crystal actually just took me down. I was very lucky because right before COVID hit, or actually right at the beginning, I went and watched University of Arizona play live at Arizona, and it was an early birthday present for me because I've never actually watched them live at their home arena. So we traveled down there to watch them. And then of course COVID's happened, but we're very big beach people. I've been to Hawaii a number of times, and I tell you, if you want a place to go, it's Hawaii. Once you go there, nothing else really compares. It's where my heart really, really lies. But I've been fortunate to travel around, and I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan, so sorry, the French family for picking the opposite side, but I've traveled around and watched them play in Nashville and Toronto and Chicago. And so, yeah, I do a lot of traveling to watch sport events, and then, of course, to get rest and relaxation.
So would you say that the Arizona State trip was the coolest sports trip you've ever taken? Or what are some of the really awesome sports tourism things that you've had a chance to do?
So I've been very fortunate, Kim. It's actually pretty lucky. We went to so I went out to Hawaii. My first trip to Hawaii was with another friend of mine, and we ended up watching his favorite team, which is Pittsburgh, and my team U of A play in the Hawaii Classic. And so we were the court is not much bigger than the Medicine Hat court, and so we were right there with all the players and the coaches. I've been to the Final Four when the buzzer beater was hit by Villanova. I was live at that event. I got a phone call on Saturday night from a former teammate and said, "Hey, Tim, I got an extra ticket to Monday night's final in Houston.
Oh, wow.
You want to come?" And I just said, "Hold on, stay on the phone." So I look up really quick, found a flight, left. I think it left Monday morning. Monday night was the game, and I left Tuesday morning back to Canada, and we watched the whole buzzer beater live, which is, I think, the greatest NCAA final to date. And then went to Chicago for hockey, but at the exact same time we were booking this, I was like, guys, we better hope that the World Series goes to 7 games when Chicago Cubs wins, because if they do, I guarantee you the parade is going to be there when we're there. And so, sure enough, we fly into Chicago on the day of the World Series parade. And so we were there at one of the biggest gatherings in the world, and got to see the World Series, like just right there in Chicago, and got to experience that also. And then rugby-wise, like when we were in Chicago too, we actually watched a live rugby game, one of the first ones that the All Blacks played, New Zealand All Blacks played in America. And it was the first time that Ireland beat New Zealand, so there's a bunch of people that were Irish. So Chicago was an absolute riot that entire weekend, because it was just, so I've been very fortunate.
Sorry, who was playing that rugby game that you were saying there?
New Zealand All Blacks and the Ireland national teams, and so they played in.
What is it like when they're preparing for the game and they're doing the haka, and the crowd is probably just dead silent, aren't they? You could probably hear the players doing their vocalizations. I'm not even sure what they're saying. You probably hear them from the last row at the very top.
Oh yeah, it's pretty. If you follow rugby at all, if you're a true rugby fan, the whole, like, this is the moment. That's what you want to see, and so everybody goes dead silent, and you just get chills because you can hear them and you can feel the passion and the energy that they have, and it was surreal to watch.
So somebody with a little bit of coaching background, see, I've always kind of found it fascinating when the All Blacks, they do their haka, and it's designed, it's traditional, but in many ways it is designed to at least intimidate the opposition a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Part of me is like, how disrespectful is that? See, on one hand, in basketball, right? For a few years there, the Rattlers men's team would do a huddle at the beginning, like right after the player introductions, and the other team would just be standing there watching. If you look at the players closely, some of them are shaking their heads or rolling their eyes or so on a little bit. What is the kind of the level of respect on the field during rugby when that is happening? You know what I mean? What is the other team feeling?
I think for me, I couldn't speak for them, but I know that there's if someone were to do that or like try and rile me up before a game, it's like, all right, whatever makes you get going, that's fine, because if you're going to bring your best and I'm still going to beat you, it doesn't matter. In rugby, I think there's just, it's a long-standing tradition, and I think there's a lot of respect, and the way that they've adjusted it to allow like Samoa and Tonga and all those Polynesian groups do their tribal respect call, you could call it. I think it's just it really speaks in terms of rugby of the level of respect that the opponents have for each other. Because for me, I don't know how familiar you are with rugby, but it seems to be one of the only sports where I can go out, and if you and I were opposing team or opposing opponents, I could tackle you and probably get a good shot or two in, and you'd probably give me a shot. And at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? That was a great game. Good job. Let's go have dinner.
That's awesome. But on the other hand, why would you amp your opposition up even more than necessary, right? Because when they're seeing that, they're getting pissed off, right? And you are adding to their fire just as much as you're adding to yours.
Well, wouldn't you want to beat the best when they're bringing their best? So
absolutely.
It just makes the victory so much sweeter.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so getting back to that Arizona State trip to see college basketball. And I've only been to one NCAA basketball game, and I found it, for me, to be such an eye-opener. The energy in the arena, the promotions, the cheerleaders, the mascots, everything about it. What would you bring from an NCAA basketball experience to an ACAC gymnasium? I mean, it's really tough, but it's just everyone needs to experience that vibe. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. It's like you look at any sport passion in the United States, and it is 100% you're this team, and there's no exception. You're dying if you're a New Orleans Saint fan, if you're an Auburn fan, whatever it is, you bleed that color. I can tell you that at the Humphrey House, Rich is an Ohio State fan through and through, and Janice is a Florida fan. And even though they're married, they battle. And I bought their daughter an Arizona shirt because I want to rile them up. But it's the passion. The fans just, you bleed the team that you play for. And I think what was really special when I played at Medicine Hat is we had a group of fans and support around the city that really bled black and gold. And they were just like, this is our team. We support you 100%. So in Southern Alberta, we're very lucky in terms of the support that we have in high school basketball. It's very similar to what, especially at zone times, when it's always played in Lethbridge, the university gets packed out even more so than what it would be for university games, because the small towns are so passionate about their teams. And I think that's just the biggest thing, is that they bleed the team that is that represents them.
And that alumni support, right? It's so big. I
Absolutely.
mean, you are a fan for life.
100%.
Yeah.
It's once a Rattler, always a Rattler. And I'll always be that way, even though I live in Lethbridge.
Once again, Tim Whitehead joining us on the show tonight. Finally, Tim, a question we ask everybody. Actually, no, hang on. We forgot to do the show and tell.
Okay.
So the show and tell segment of the show, where you have to find something in your house that just has a deep personal meaning, or maybe a really cool story attached to it. So go ahead. It's all yours.
It's going to sound pretty silly, but that's it right there. A piece of wood.
What?
And everybody's like, what the heck is that? So when I played at the university, they tore down the old gym. And the last group to graduate was Coach Humphrey and myself. And the last shot to be made in that gym was actually by myself over the USC Dino team. So it was a buzzer beater, and I went in, I was walking by the gym one day, and they were tearing it up, and we knew it was getting torn up. And I just kind of poked my head and say, hey guys, like, what are you doing with all the wood? And they're like, well, we're just tossing it. And I was like, do you mind if I come in and take a piece? And they're like, go ahead. And I was like, do you mind a specific piece in a specific area? And they're like, okay, yeah, we'll just pull it out for you. And so that was very close to where I shot the last shot in the U of L gym. And that was actually the last shot that I made in that gym too. So it's significant to me. It has a lot of history to me. not only from the past, but yeah, it was a special spot, a special moment in my life that I hold near and dear.
Okay, so let's see it again. There's one side is black and the other side is white. Is
Yeah,
that just that's the adhesive side? Oh, so okay, so there you go. It's the black. Was that in the key or where was that?
yeah. So it's just inside the key. So it's a deep navy blue. It would have been if you, I guess people that would have played with me would know that from the top of the key, I take 2 dribbles left, do a pull-up jumper, so it's right around the corner of the key, if not just slightly inside the key. And so yeah, that's where I picked it from.
Nailed it. That's awesome. That's so good. Once again, Tim Whitehead joining us on the show. Final question. How did being a student athlete at Medicine College prepare you for your real estate career today?
That's a really good question. It's probably prepared me the most I've ever been. I reflect back on my time quite a bit. When it gets challenging, I think back to my coaches, my teammates offering support. I can tell you that I wouldn't be in the position I'm in or have the success I have without those skills and those lessons. It provides you with a special opportunity to make a lot of unique friends for the rest of your life. To me, all my Med Hat friends are family. It's just your family. There's no question. The trials and the struggles that you go through, it's just, you turn back and you think back of how hard it was in basketball and through school, and you didn't want to do this and you didn't want to do that, but you have to do it in order to have the fun of playing. You had to pass classes, you had to do certain things, you had to volunteer, but it also allowed you to meet all these people that later down the road provide you opportunities for success. So it's I can tell you that it made a huge impact in my life, and I wouldn't be here without that experience. So yeah, and I feel really bad for those athletes everywhere right now. You don't get to like grade 12, whatever. It doesn't matter what age you're in. With COVID happening, it's a really tough time, and my heart is broken for everybody who didn't get to play that last game, or who knows what's going to happen. We just heard on the news today, I don't know if you're following, but Stanford cut some more academic classes, and I think it was one of the conferences said we're banning everything until January. So
Ivy League football.
That's right.
Yep.
They're the first one to go.
And I would imagine that all of FCS football, and who knows, maybe even FBS, might be pushed back to spring. Yeah. And I mean, hey, let's hope that even happens. Yeah,
I mean, it's an unfortunate. It's a really difficult time that we're in, and so what you're doing, Kim, and what Pat and MHC is doing, I think this is very valuable for everybody to connect, to reach out, to keep everybody engaged with the team and with the sport and with the college. So I thank you guys for doing this. This is awesome.
It's a big honor having you on. Thank you so much. Once again, Tim Whitehead joining us on the show. All the best to you, my friend. Have a great summer. Sell lots of houses and keep that Lethbridge real estate market churning. And we can't wait to see you back in the snake pit soon.
Absolutely.
Come and check out a game.
Can't wait to be there, Kim. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Bye for now.
All right. Tim Whitehead joining us right there from Lethbridge, and we've got one more big interview coming up tomorrow. And God, Pat told me who it was. You know what? I'll make it a surprise, right? Keep an eye on the Rattler social media tomorrow morning. Another big announcement, and we'll be back here tomorrow night, same time, with more Rattler vlog interview action. It's a lot of fun. If you're a student athlete, if you're a former coach, if you're a current coach, if you're associated with the team in any way, alumni, we would love to get you on. Reach out to the Rattlers via social media or text Pat directly. Either way, send a DM and we'll get you on here. We're going to keep this going all summer long and beyond. All right. On behalf of Tim Whitehead, thank you. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.